Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to Books My Quiet Friends. My name's Sidney and today I'm here to film my January wrap-up for you. My current reads are Outlander by Diana Gabaldon and The Golden Compass, which I am listening to on audiobook for my book club this month. In the month of January, I ended up completing 10 books overall. I had 3 books I listened to on audio and the rest were physical reads. The first book I finished was Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. This book takes place with 2 perspectives, Dash and Lily. Lily leaves a notebook in a bookshop with clues that help Dash get to know her. Adventures ensue. I don't know how much I'm giving away, but there you have it. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I understand why it's a classic for the time of year, but I just didn't enjoy it. I thought it had so much more that it could offer. I really wish that I had loved it more because I have the sequel, the second book, but I just don't see myself picking it up and I'm not even sure if I'm going to end up keeping this one, unfortunately. The next book I own a physical copy, but I listened to on audiobook, and that's The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I expected. I thought that this book was supposed to be a mystery, but it was more so about living after someone you love has passed away and the grieving process. I think it was an interesting idea to follow our characters through so many points in their life, but after a while I felt like the story was being kind of dragged on. The next book I read this month was The Rosie Project, and I read it for my local library book club, so I do not own a copy. I give it 4 out of 5 stars as well. I really enjoyed the story overall. It follows our main character, Don, who after many years being alone decides that he is ready to have a wife, and he's going to make a survey to help him find this wife. It follows a very interesting main character of Don, as well as some of the adventures that he finds while going on his wife project. And his friends, who are an interesting group. I thought that the story was great overall, and I'm considering reading the next book, but I haven't quite decided yet. Let me know if you've read the second book, if it lives up to the first one. The next book I read was Sing You Home by Jodi Picoult. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It follows our main character, Zoe, and another main character, Max, and it kind of follows how their lives change and intertwine with others around them after Zoe has a stillborn child after she's been through fertility treatment. So it's, needless to say, dramatic, and Jodi Picoult does a very good job of writing heart-wrenching things. I would be interested to pick up some more of her work. Let me know which books I should pick up by her, which ones are better, which ones are not as good. Please let me know. After something so dramatic, I decided I would pick up something that was fantasy, and I picked up Ruined by Amy Tintera. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's a super quick read. It's a fun fantasy. I think that it's really interesting to read about this world and the different types of people and the different rulers. And it was just interesting overall. I think I got really swept up in the drama of this book, and I can't wait to continue the series. After Ruined, I picked up another fantasy book, which was A Court of Wings in Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, which is a pretty common rating this month. I enjoyed it, but I was a little let down. I certainly enjoyed the second book more, and I was happy with the way things wrapped up, but I did find that it was a bit repetitive and redundant with some of the things that we were seeing, and I also just didn't feel as connected to the characters by the end of the book as I think I should have felt. The next book I listened to on audiobook was Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I'd heard a lot of people say, oh, it's just a common dystopian, like it's like any other dystopian you read. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the setting and the different world, but I think it's also been a while since I read a dystopian, so it kind of brought me back to the love of reading about the world ending, if you know what I'm saying. And I also liked the characters in this story. This story is about Arya and Perry. Perry, who is an outsider, and Arya, who is a mole. Arya lives in a compound while there is ether in the sky that causes massive storms and mass chaos. Perry lives on the outside and is a member of a tribe. So it's kind of about how their 2 stories intertwine and their different lives that they lead and how it leads them to each other. Hopefully that wasn't giving away too much. The next book I read was Fairest by Marissa Meyer. This is book 3.5, I think, in the Lunar Chronicles, and it follows our villain Lavana, I don't know. I think that this book added next to nothing to the Lunar Chronicles. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It took me 2 weeks to get through this tiny thing, and I just don't think it was worth my time. I do not recommend it. It seemed like it was making excuses for behavior. It was extremely frustrating. I just kept hoping that it would get better, and it just didn't. I'm sorry if you loved this book, but it didn't. So after that traumatic experience, I decided to listen to another audiobook, and I listened to Through the Evernight by Veronica Rossi, the second book in Under the Never Sky, right? Yes. The second book in Under the Never Sky. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I still really enjoyed it. I was a little nervous after reading the back of this book because of some of the content matter, but I love the way that the author took this story and changed it, and it really, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I like seeing different parts of the world and watching our characters morph into something more than they were in the first book. And last but not least, I know, if you're still here, I'm amazed. I read Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. Yes, this is just the dust jacket. My mom has my copy. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Like I said, a pretty common rating this month. I really enjoyed it, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first one. I think that this series is going in a very supernatural direction, which I wasn't quite anticipating, and while I'm enjoying it, I'm also kind of finding it frustrating because it's not really back at the roots of the Diviners, which makes sense because it's been a few years since the Diviners came out. Okay, it's been a while since the Diviners came out. I liked this. It just wasn't all I wished it to be. I also think that the ending really saved this book. The last 200 pages I zipped through so fast. I loved them. I think that our characters are diverse. If you're looking for a diverse read, I think the setting is definitely unique, and I think that the content is unique. So if that's something you're all in for, I would recommend trying this series. It takes place in 1927 with our main character being Evie O'Neill, I do believe. She is gifted, and after she uses this gift at a party, she is sent to live with her uncle in New York, and adventures ensue with many a character from there. So those are all the books that I read in January. I only expected to read 4. Pretty proud of myself. Made some really good leeway on my TBR. Let's hope that February is just as good, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!